Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today at this community meeting. It's been an amazing process to go through design and planning with both our families, our community members and neighbors, and our students, as well as our staff and teachers. We are so privileged and blessed to have a community that supports the amazing things that happen every day in Dallas ISD, especially at Henry Longfellow Career Exploration Academy. I'm so excited to see our updates that we have here and learn a little bit more about when this beautiful new legacy building will be ready for our students to enter. Thank you again, and I can't wait to learn alongside you.
Great. And Chief Alfred, would you like to say a few words and talk a little bit about the project?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Carmen. I'm Brent Alfred. I'm Chief of Construction with Dallas ISD. Excited to be here and excited to bring you guys this presentation. You've got a great team of architects, program managers, and zoning consultants that are going to take you through a brief presentation about the zoning and traffic management of the plan, as well as showing you a few of the renderings. First, I want to thank you for your support. Bond 2020 would not be possible without your support and without the support of your trustees. So kudos to you for supporting us. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Carl Crowley. He's with Master Plan. Take it, Carl.
Good evening. My name is Carl Crawley. I'm with Master Plan, and we're the zoning and land use consultant for the DISD on this project. I want to thank all of y'all for joining us tonight, including joining us, and I'll introduce Claire Stannard, who is the city plan commissioner for this district. She's joining us for this meeting, but I too am looking forward to it. I've been involved in the zoning. Likely, if you're on this meeting, you probably got a postcard from me inviting you to this meeting. There'll be two zoning hearings, one at the City Plan Commission, probably within the next month, and then one shortly thereafter at the City Council, which will go over the plan and get the zoning in place so we can continue on with this project. So right now I'm going to introduce Ken Meyer with Huckabee, who's the architect, and they will lead you through the presentation. We come back, I'll talk to you about the traffic management plan, and then we'll open up for questions. Go ahead, Ken. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Ken Meyer with Huckabee Architects, and also joining me is Andre Brackens. Like Carl had mentioned, we're walking through the site plan and the exterior renderings for Henry W. Longfellow Career and Exploration Academy here. So we'll just jump right in with the site plan. For those of you who are familiar with the site, we've got an existing building here. This is the existing campus as it is today. This allows us to, or I guess one of the opportunities on the site is to honor that and respond to that. You'll see that reflected in our site plan here by allowing us to keep this operational during construction. In the previous slide, you could see where that kind of existing building was located and where we're proposing the new one with access off of Inwood Road and Boaz. Next slide will be showing you some of the exterior renderings. This is views from the northwest or northeast side of the site. Looking back, we have a 3-story portion of academics, various CTE, library, theater, and dining and athletics over here. You have a peek of the parent drop-off loop here that Carl will touch on later. Here's another view from Inwood and the southeast or southwest, front of the building. Coming up here, we've got, again, the 3-story portion to the left here, the main entry in the center, and the fine arts off to the right. A few more renderings of the front door. Back side of the building with the library and some outdoor learning spaces. View from the the parent drop-off loop here, back towards the building and the library. And jumping, I guess, back into the traffic management plan with Carl.
Okay, Ken, if you'll go on to the next slide. We were fortunate with building a new school on a campus that we can sort of arrange the traffic to try to keep it off the streets, because right now I'm sure it's on the streets because that's where it has to be. The other fortunate thing traffic wise with this school is it's an academy, and as an academy, it has a number of buses that bring students from around the district to this location. The cul-de-sac that Ken mentioned will be the parent pickup and queue area. They will enter the site from Boaz, loop through the parking lot, and then back out around that queue, and then back to Boaz to go either left or right. There'll be school zones on the streets on Greenway, Boaz, and on Inwood. Hopefully on Inwood. It's a thoroughfare, and the city is hesitant to put those, but I believe there's one there now, and it will stay in place. The buses will enter off of Inwood and Glenwick, depending on where they're coming from and where they're exiting to. They will line up in the sort of bus line along that's parallel to Inwood. Students will board there, and then they will exit onto Inwood and go the directions they need to go. So we're fortunate that we can keep the buses away from the parents. Cars and buses don't get along very well with students involved. So we're fortunate to be able to separate those into two different areas, and be able to keep the traffic off of the local streets around there. So that's the end of my part of the presentation. As I mentioned, you will, if you received a postcard, you'll get a notice from the city 2 weeks prior to the Plan Commission hearing, which should be in November. There'll be a ballot and you can fill it out. And then again, there'll be another notice you'll get before the city council hearing, which is a few weeks after that. And again, you'll get a chance to participate. It's a public hearing. Both of them are. You can come down to City Hall and participate. They currently still allow virtual meetings, and I believe they'll still be allowing that in November and December. So otherwise, I'm going to open it up for questions. And Mary Carmen, if you'll explain again how they can ask their questions.
Sure thing. You can raise your hand so we can ask you to unmute. We'll call your name, or if you prefer to write down your questions in the chat, we will read them out loud. So whatever your preference is, we're happy to answer your questions. Claire Stannard, if you would like to unmute.
Yes, Carl, I want to understand one thing about the buses.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying they come in off of Inwood, and do they come into that entrance kind of along where the parking spots are?
See where the cursor is? That's where the queue. The front bus will be the heading out part of the bus, and that last bus will be the tail end, shall we say? And they'll either exit that way, or they can go on to Boaz and go that direction. Yeah.
I see.
They could come off of Inwood. They could come around the school off of Boaz. It depends on where they're coming from and where they're going.
I see. That's great. You have both of those.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to say this is a beautiful school. The architecture is phenomenal. Kudos to the architects. It is gorgeous. And I love the way you did the parent traffic plan. Right. I think that's brilliant to take it off of Boaz and have it wrapping around the parking lot and then going around that Reunion Tower. That's what I'm going to call it.
And I think there should be plenty of room, and we're fortunate that this is an academy versus there is such a thing, a normal middle school that would have a lot of more parent traffic. But even if we had more parent traffic, then we just accommodated differently. We could divide it into pieces again and stuff like that. So we're fortunate that. Ken, I wonder if you could point out, and I don't think I heard you say, maybe go back to one of those aerials that show up where the storm shelter was? Because I didn't hear exactly where you said, if you did, I probably missed it, where the storm shelter was. All right, that's a good one.
I apologize. The storm shelter will be located back here. It's the gym.
Is that the gym? Okay.
Yes.
That's the normal one, but I've seen gyms, I've seen cafeterias, I've seen classrooms. So, okay, I was just curious.
Yep.
Are there any other questions?
I have another question.
Great.
Go back to that rendering you just showed where you were showing the where the storm shelter is. Okay, what is that tall part of the building that says with the signage on it? What is that doing?
This right here is the theater. So the stage area is going to be here, the highest point, and then this is the seating area.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is so, I love how you've done this. Okay, I was just curious. Thanks.
So Ken, the tall end is the fly space of sorts.
Correct.
That
That'll
is
be the spot,
brilliant.
yes.
Okay.
Mary Carmen, there's one in chat, it looks like.
Mary
You're on-
Carmen, you're muted.
You're muted.
When
Mary
do
Carmen.
we predict construction to start, and when will the kids be able to move in?
I'll answer that. This is David with the Jacobs Group. I've been working with the Huckabee team on the phasing plan, which details the start of construction, which we're looking at the fall of 2023, and then hopefully with the kids will be going in the fall of 2025.
But again, the existing school will remain open that whole time. Those students will still be
That
on
is
the
correct. That is correct.
If there any other questions, please feel free to unmute and ask them or write them in the chat. Just to let you know that this presentation will also be made available in the page, in the Bond 2020 page for this particular project. You can easily get to it by going to our main site for the district. And it's one of the buttons right at the very top for our bond projects. That'll take you directly to the bond pages. And you can check out this project and many others that we are doing that we're finishing for the bond 2015 and that we're doing for bond 2020. And we will have that there, and we will announce any other meetings and news related to the school and other projects that we are doing during the coming years. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one more. I know I'm monopolizing, but I'm curious. Where are the students going to be while you're building it? If I'm looking at here, where are they going to be while you're building?
Well, where that large parking lot is and the cul-de-sac or the upside down reunion tower and that other field, that's where the existing school is.
Oh, okay. So they'll be able to remain there.
Then when we finish the new school and those kids move out in that May time period of 25, right, David? That then we can demo the old school, build that parking lot, the cul-de-sac. The landscaping follows in after that, just because you don't put in landscaping while you're doing demo and construction and stuff. So that's the phasing. The Gollier is the same way. The Gollier is the same way. We can there's many of the campuses are large enough, and we can creatively design a school around the existing one, which
I was
obviously.
going to say, this is brilliant planning. This is really good planning. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
it's obviously I'm sure Huckabee would have rather had a nice flat site with nothing else there, and they'd have built a nice. But the school may have been the same shape and the same everything. So
Right.
fortunately we can build around the existing, and then we don't disrupt the kids and that's
And I think it's harder when the kids are uprooted. Even though
Oh,
they have
definitely.
the construction going on around them, the fact that they're at the same location, it's still their school. So I think
Definitely.
that's great.
I know when TJ had to and Carrie had to, TJ moved all in one and Carrie split up. I'm sure it was difficult for those students.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. It really is a beautiful building, the new one. Any other questions? Again, you can write them in the chat or you can unmute and share them yourself. If there are no more questions, Principal Tatum, Chief Alfred, would you like to say a few words now that we've seen these plans?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and close us out. Thank you for putting on this great presentation. I agree with the community. This is a beautiful building. And I'm happy to say we've reached our final milestone in design. We'll be soon taking this to the city to go through our zoning and permitting, bidding, and starting construction in spring. So next time I see you guys, it'll be at a ribbon groundbreaking. And then in 2025, we'll follow up with that ribbon cutting. So thank you, and I hope you all have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.